Good morning, students. Today we will be looking at some programming terms. I trust you are all well. Welcome to this another online class. Let's get started. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to explain the terms, variables and constants, differentiate between a statement and keyword, discuss the term conditional statements to include loops, types of loops, and give examples of each. Write an algorithm to satisfy a certain condition. So, students, these are the objectives that we will be working towards attaining by the end of this lesson. Let's get started. The first two terms we are looking at are variables and constants. A variable or a constant is a named location in memory that holds data that a program might use or manipulate. Variables can change during the manipulation of a program, but a constant remains unchanged throughout the execution of the program. What is this saying? This is simply saying that in writing a program, you will need to use either a variable or constant or a mixture of both. Now, variables, they do change during the execution. So 4 can end up as 8 later on in the program. However, a constant remains unchanged. But you need to note that both of them, they store values. Now, an example of a variable is sum, or a number, 10, or 3 plus 3. These can change. An example of constants are values and the date of birth, for example, 3.14, or the date of birth of somebody, 6th of the 3rd, 1980. Statements and keywords. What do we mean by these? A statement is a description of the processing that can include an action or condition. Instructions within the statement are called keywords. And what are these keywords? Examples of these are input, read, output, display, print, or write. So, students, the statement in a program describes what is taking place. What is it that the action is? Some form of processing. Okay? For example, read two numbers and find their sum. Then we have conditional statements. Now, what do we mean by conditional statements? Conditional statements allow decisions to be made in a program. This includes deciding which statements are to be executed, or in other words, to be carried out. For example, you might want a set of statements to execute only if certain conditions are met. So it may be that you want certain things, certain processing to take place depending on a certain condition. And an example is find a larger number. So you have two numbers here, num1 and num2. If num1 is greater than num2, then print num1, else print num2. That's a condition. You will print based on a condition. Then you have loops. A loop is useful for repeating parts of a program. That is, they will repeatedly execute a section of program until the end condition is satisfied. In order to exit from a loop, you must have a method for checking to see if you have completed the task. Once a loop terminates, control is returned to the first statement after the block of statements in the loop. You can recall this when you completed your SBA. You had to carry out certain instruction until a criteria was met. Okay? Now there are two types of loops. You have the for loop, which is a definite loop. That means you're given a specific set of instructions to carry out a specific number of times. So it may be that you're required to jump 3 times, jump 5 times, specific, definite. Then you have the while or the repeat loop, which is an indefinite loop. So you're uncertain here. You have to carry out a certain number of processing in order to meet a certain criteria. So you're not sure when this condition will be met. So that is why you keep repeating the process. An example. Write an algorithm that reads 2 values, determines the larger value, and prints the larger value. Now, this is a problem to be solved. So the first thing you need to do is identify the input statement. And in this solution, the input statement represents read num1, read num2. Then, this is the condition now. If num1 is greater than num2, then larger value is num1. But what if it is not? Else larger value is num2. You are also required to print the larger value. So once you have carried out the condition you end if, then the output is the larger value is larger. Okay? So you have the input, the condition, and the output. Students, if at first you try and you do not succeed, try again. Only you can determine your success. I believe you have what it takes to be great. I wish you all the best and keep on studying. God bless you.